This is Michael Paton. He's a rocket scientist. He also just killed his entire family, including 3 people, 3 dogs, and 1 cat, mere hours ago. And if anyone can get away with killing his family, it's a rocket scientist genius. The only problem is that the other man in this room, this man, Joshua Armstrong, is also a genius, albeit in another field. Detective Armstrong is an expert in analytic and cognitive interrogation strategies, specializing in microexpressions, meaning that if Michael's acting prowess isn't equal to his aerospace engineering skill, Detective Armstrong will see through it. But with Michael having killed his wife and children only 2 hours prior to this interrogation, the truth is that this detective has an uphill battle. Importantly, Detective Armstrong has no real evidence with which to use as ammunition. At present, the only known facts are that Michael Paton's wife, daughter, son, 3 dogs, and 1 cat were found dead in their house. While Michael had called the emergency line, claiming to have killed his family, when police arrived at the scene, Michael's story changed. Upon arriving, the police found Michael's house ablaze. Michael, standing outside, had told the responding officers that his family was still inside the house. In other words, Michael Paton, on the phone, had admitted to the murders while in-person Michael Paton appears to be unaware of the fact that his family had been shot dead before the house was set aflame. Barring a prank phone call or a framing situation, the most likely scenario is that Michael had killed his family, called the police to admit his crime, and then later regretted it, thereafter setting a fire to hide the evidence. From the arrival of the responding officers to the arrival of Michael to this interrogation room, Michael has acted as though he was unaware that his family is deceased, even questioning the police as to why he's being brought down to the station. Joshua Armstrong, a seasoned detective, has determined that with all witnesses being dead, his best game plan is to build as much rapport as possible to extract a confession. He has no knowledge of Michael Paton as a person, and thus wants to get a feel for the suspect before anything else. Let's watch him do his work. But first, a moment of silence for the victims.
Let me get the person that's going to swab your hands real quick, and then we'll do that and get those handcuffs off of you, okay? You need something?
I'll just sit here and wait.
Okay, you need something to drink or anything?
Please.
Water, okay?
Anything. I just want it. I'm so confused. What was that?
Michael, was that quick enough for you, brother? You go by Mike or Michael?
Usually Mike.
Hmm?
Usually Mike.
Okay. Can you stand up for me? I'm going to get them handcuffs off of you, okay? This is who I was talking about, was going to take a swab of your hands, okay? Are you okay with her doing that? Hey, Mike, do you have any injuries to you right now? Are you hurt anywhere, bleeding anywhere, cut anywhere?
I know.
Okay. Well, do you mind standing up right here on the swab board? You've got a bruise right here. Is this old?
Yes, it's a couple days old.
Couple days old. Okay. Anything on the back side? No cuts or anything like that? Do you mind if I lift your shirt up?
For it.
You got a, I can't tell if that's a scratch over here. You got a cat or something at the house?
3 dogs and
Dogs and a cat. It looks like you got maybe the cat scratch over here on one side.
probably the puppy.
Puppy?
Can I stand for a minute?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I was in the car for
You were sitting there for a long time. Give me just a second. Here's your cup of water, Mike.
Thank you.
Give me just a second, okay?
Yeah.
Mike, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I haven't met you before. My name's Josh Armstrong, okay? I don't know if you can shake hands, and you know coronavirus is kind of...
I don't always stay at home. We both work remote.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
Work for Raytheon.
Huh?
Raytheon.
Raytheon. Is that the oil or gas or...
Defense.
Okay, yep, that's right.
Oh.
Mike, I told you my name's Josh Armstrong. This is Kyle Peck, okay? We're both with the Line Police Department. You are in the back of that patrol car for a long time. Is your legs okay? They get on asleep?
My right one's still trying, but I'm okay. I'm gonna stand up there. So
You can, if you need to stand up, just tell me you need to stand up, okay? I'm going to let you read this at the same time I read it, okay? It says you have the right to remain silent, not make any statement at all. Anything you say can and will be used against you at your trial. You have the right to have a lawyer present and advise you prior to and during any questioning. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, you have the right to have a lawyer appointed to represent you before any questioning. You have the right to terminate this interview at any time. Do you understand each of these rights, Mike?
I understand what you're arrested. Yeah, I understand this.
Okay. Well, we can answer any questions you have here in just a minute, okay? And you said you do understand your rights? Okay, and with your rights in mind, you want to speak with me now?
What happened? I don't know if I need a lawyer. I don't.
That's a complete personal decision on yours, Mike. I just need to make sure that you do understand your rights, and then if you want a lawyer, you can let me know and we can get you one. And obviously, I think you've got some questions that you were trying to ask me a minute ago.
Do, but I don't want to be arrested. I feel like I need somebody to help me with what's going on because I don't have any idea what's going on.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, neither one of us have an idea of what's going on right now either because we haven't spoken with you yet, if that makes sense.
It does.
So we really don't know. We don't know what's going on. I think our hope was that you would help us figure out what's going on as much as us help you figure out what's going on.
Try, but I don't know what happened.
Are you sound really short of breath. Do you have asthma or medical condition or anything? Or are you just tired or
I'm stressed out.
just really stressed?
I don't know what's happening.
I just want to clarify before I ask you any questions or you ask me any questions. You said you did understand your rights. You do want to speak with me, correct?
Start, but I don't know if I start getting overwhelmed. I want somebody to.
You can stop the interview at any time.
Okay.
What was your question? You were trying to ask me some questions when we were coming up the stairway.
I don't know what's happening. I don't remember what happened. I remember working this afternoon.
What do you do for Raytheon?
Configurations. So basically, I make sure everything's right before it gets released. Sure, drawings or documents or whatever.
I really don't know what Raytheon does. What is it?
Defense, missiles, aerospace.
So are you still employed? Is Raytheon is a private contractor that's contracted through the government?
Contracts and stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Mainly government contracts.
What is it that you do for them?
The configuration stuff. I run a meeting every month with the Navy. Check all the drawings.
Given the circumstances, the detective's questions might seem overly mundane. This is intentional, as Michael Paton's game plan is to play confused. If the detective can show that Michael is cognizant and lucid, it can lead observers, such as a jury, to believe that Michael's claim of confusion is merely an act. Thus, Detective Armstrong's first goal is to determine that Michael is indeed lucid.
But for my programs, make sure everything's right. I make sure that the markings are correct so that we're protected government-wide, copyright and all that fun stuff.
Is it like classified type of stuff or?
No, I have my classified, or I've been cleared classified, but I don't work on a classified program currently.
Okay. Forgive me, I don't know much about. I wasn't in. I don't know much about.
I'm still learning.
How did you get in? Were you in the military? Is that how you got into that, or?
I got into it later after I got my degree.
Is that something anybody can do, or like, do you need some kind of? What's the degree in?
My degree is engineering physics.
Okay, so that's why that's the physics part of this.
Not necessarily for what I do right now, but I can use it for stuff. I understand electronics and schematics and stuff.
I don't understand any electronics or space. Were you in the military at all?
I was in the Marine Corps.
And how long were you there?
6 years.
6 years? And did you get deployed at all?
I got injured on prep for deployment, so I didn't go. I hurt my ankle.
Bad or?
Sprained it real bad, enough that it would have delayed me past shipping out, so I didn't deploy.
Detective Armstrong does not know this at this point, but Michael Paton was being strangely truthful here. Later interviews with people who know Michael would show that Michael consistently lied about the action he saw in the Marine Corps. Apparently, Michael discussed with multiple people numerous battles he had experienced during his time as a Marine. Most likely, Michael has decided to not risk lying about unrelated issues so that he can focus his mental energy on concealing the crime in question.
The Marine Corps.
Communications tech.
Okay.
So I fixed the radios.
You got a pretty impressive background. Between the Marine Corps and then the Raytheon stuff.
Try.
Well, tell me a little bit. I don't know anything about you, Michael. I'm trying to piece together the puzzle. I think the same way you are. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you like doing? What's your family like? And who, I mean?
My wife and I have been together since I was 19 and she was 18. We have 2 kids. She's a nurse. Her daughter's a swimmer. Pretty good. Son's high functioning autistic, but he manages some days. Other days that all doesn't help. I like music.
You collect vinyl? A lot of it?
I just started not too long ago, probably 2 years ago.
How much do you think you got?
40, 50 albums.
Oh, okay.
I'm not hardcore yet.
Well, the only reason I know about that is my father-in-law was a radio DJ for like 34, 40 years, a long time. And so he came to live. He needed a place to live when he moved. So he lived with us for a little bit, and he brought these wooden crates. I guess they're made specifically because they're the size of the vinyl records that fit in. He probably had like 30 of these wooden crates full of vinyl records that we had to move in and then move out. And you know how moving goes, but so he had a huge vinyl collection, but I think he's dwindled his down now.
I mean, I like music, I like hanging out with my kids. I've been binge watching a TV show lately. Just on we'll do an episode or 2.
What show is it?
Supernatural.
You seen Supernatural? I don't know that I've even heard of it.
So we've been watching that. Play video games every once in a while, but I'm not that into it. It's just something to occupy my time. Been getting back into working out recently. Trying to better myself.
You going to the gym or doing it at home?
Gym, but we're working on buying something for the house.
Like a home gym thing? You go in the garage? What, you said your son's high functioning autistic. How old is your son?
13.
13.
For the sake of avoiding an early confrontation with Michael, the detective has decided to play along and use the present tense to refer to Michael's dead family members. This is intentional but cognitively difficult for most people to do. Essentially, the detective has to play make-believe with Michael, all the while mentally juggling his interrogation strategy, observing Michael's body language, and analyzing Michael's story. In a high-pressure situation, such as in a murder interrogation room, even expert detectives can slip up.
When you say high function, there's so many different kinds of autism out there. What is his specific?
He's anxiety. He was kind of not antisocial, but busy social environments. He had a delayed learn. He didn't speak until he was like 4. And so usually, like I said, the Adderall tends to help. Some days it does, and some days it doesn't. He's very easily addicted to screens.
Addicted to what?
Screens like video games, his phone.
Man.
stuff like that. He does taekwondo. He seems to enjoy that. That gives him some structure,
Focus.
Yeah, it gives him something like specific movements, and he's able to practice it. And
How old was your daughter?
what do you mean it was?
How old is she? You said she does some swimming stuff.
Yeah, she is 14.
The detective's use of past tense is an inflection point in this interrogation. The standard interrogation strategy, often referred to as the Reed technique, would compel the detective to confront the suspect at this point. However, Detective Armstrong doesn't subscribe to this school of interrogation strategy and is more focused on Michael's nonverbal communication. Most important in this detective's mind is the fact that Michael has avoided eye contact the entire time, barring this one confrontation. The detective decides not to push the issue, instead opting to pretend that he's made a mistake with his words. His reasoning is threefold. 1. Michael has shown his attentiveness in the interview by pointing out a single verb in the detective's speech. That is, Michael is not speaking in a daze, but is of complete clarity in this conversation. This is beneficial to the prosecution's case as it can show that Michael is not as confused as he claims to be. 2. Michael, having shown a high level of intelligence, is likely enacting a pre-planned strategy. Locking eyes with the detective at the first sign of the conversation taking a turn toward the murder is most likely an attempt to draw the detective into a direct accusation. The detective is an expert on body language and has decided that Michael is baiting him. Third, with all other witnesses already deceased, the detective has only Michael from which to extract the details of the murder. For this reason, Detective Armstrong wishes to lock Michael into his story before making any accusations. The only person who can give him an account of the crime is Michael himself. Thus, the detective needs to tread carefully. He's walking on eggshells, in other words.
What did you do swimming-wise?
Strokes.
Hmm.
Why did you say?
I'm just trying to learn who your family is. I don't know anything about them.
You said how old she was.
I don't know why I said that. I just trying to figure out about your family. I was really trying to figure about you and
She swims whatever events. The meets are open, and you schedule whatever events that you want the kids to swim. It's not structured. I mean, sometimes the coaches will say, "I want you in this event."
like the different strokes and like Michael Phelps kind of stuff, like the butterfly and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's only 4 strokes.
Why do you think we're here today? I'm confused on why we are here. You don't remember anything from today?
I think of is the other day, my wife was. We've been working lately. We haven't been. We've been struggling a little bit. I've been trying to work on it. I was going to counseling. I haven't been in a few weeks. I've been going to counseling, and struggling on Saturday night. She had one of the guns and was saying that their only way out.
Say that one more time.
She said the only way out was to basically coach up, and I wouldn't leave the room. And I wouldn't leave her alone. I kept trying to get the gun away from her. After about 2 hours, I got it away from her. But told me that, basically if I called in to try to get her some help, they'd take her nursing license away. I didn't know what to do. Her best friend came over, and she ended up staying the night. Maybe that was Sunday night, because she was there all day Monday when we were working. And I've been watching. I've been afraid that she was going to hurt herself. I hit the guns. And I don't know.
Who's her best friend?
Her name's Heather.
She work with her or high school friend? Or?
They're friends from like, middle school.
Okay. You know what Heather's last name is?
She's divorced, but I think she's still using Weber.
Heather Weber? That rhymes. So this was, you think, last Sunday?
Yeah, like a couple days ago, Sunday night maybe.
Okay. Do you know what today is?
Thursday or Friday.
Yes. Today's Friday. Okay. So last Sunday night this still happened. Did you end up ever contacting anybody, or you just kind of let the friend kind of?
Kind of let the friend. I've been talking to her. She was doing better throughout. She was talking to me, kind of opening up, and that's thought we were doing better. And she agreed that she'd do couples counseling with me. And she said that she's been waffling on it back and forth for about a month. She agreed she'd go. Told me I might not like all her answers, but that she would go because I thought it was important. And so I was going to look into. I mean, it was.
Okay. And so you said you hid the guns. Where'd you hide those at?
I had one of them was up in my office that I didn't use it this week, but I've been using it for a few months in the extra bedroom upstairs. And it was up there. And then the other one was, I hid it in a bag. I was planning on putting them in my truck and trying to find a friend to take them to for a little while until it blew over, and I felt like she was better.
How many guns do y'all have?
2.
Are they both handguns or rifles? Both handguns. Do you know what they are?
There's a Walther. It's a 22 and a 9mm Springfield.
Springfield. I used to have a Springfield 9mm. I traded it for a Glock.
I never liked Glocks.
I didn't like them until I started carrying them. I learned to love them. So it was a transfer, but they're very, very simple to use and operate and take down and clean and interchange parts and all that stuff. So I switched everything over and got rid of my Springfield. Has your wife ever had any suicidal stuff prior to this week?
A couple of years ago, she had thoughts of it. We worked through it. We worked through it.
Worked through it. Has she ever had any kind of a medical treatment for it or anything like that?
She just started opening up about when she was in maybe middle school or high school. She went to counseling. Just recently told me that she was abused when she was a kid, and that's why she's been not wanting to go to therapy with me, because she didn't like the experience.
Physical abuse or sexual abuse?
Sexual, from what she's told me.
Do you know who it was that done it to her, like a family or
I
boyfriend?
think it was friends of her dad and maybe her stepdad.
So
She told me about one, including when she was living with her dad in Michigan. There was the neighbor. She was babysitting and woke up to him over her, and there was other ones that she didn't tell me about. But she told me that there was.
Oh, so it's like not just one thing, or not just one person, kind of multiple.
And so she's struggled with that before, and so like I said, we worked through it, and I've been trying to work through the issues that we've been having. I've never been great with sharing my emotions, and that's why I went to counseling. Trying to be a better husband, a better dad. I've been able to reconnect with my kids a lot. Like, we have a lot more conversations, and daughter opens up to me a lot more.
Have you ever read the book 5 Love Languages?
I think I've heard of it. I think I found it on a website. I think I found a quiz for it, and then she and I actually took it a week or two ago.
Okay, so recent then. What was her love language?
Um,
There's
No, there
I'm trying to remember the 5 of them. There's
affirmation was
words of affirmation,
yeah. Gifting wasn't high, but it was higher than mine.
receiving gifts.
Yeah, the gift.
The one where you do things for, like clean the house.
Act of service.
Okay, that I feel like active service and affirmation were her high.
Her highest.
Were her high too.
And then, of course, the intimate side of it. That's most men, but
We never really had a problem with that. In 17 years, we never really had a problem there.
me and my wife had a friend of ours give us that book, and we read it, and it kind of puts things in perspective, like, because you're raised a certain way by your parents, and she's raised a certain way by her parents, and you kind of got to understand this is how this person thinks or perceives or whatever. So it really helped us because my wife's grandmother always bought her gifts. Like they never said I love you. They never they didn't come up and give you a hug. They just their way of showing love was hey, here's a birthday present, or here's a gift, or here's this. And so that's how she. And so it kind of opened my eyes a little bit on okay, let me see things from her perspective instead of mine.
Been trying to get her to look into some books and workbooks and stuff with me. We had a friend who from high school, and she got divorced not long ago, and I asked her, what do you wish you did differently? And she said that she wished she would have done that. And she was telling me some of her church groups were not overly religious, but she was telling me church has a lot of resources. And so I've been trying to push her towards that a little bit.
What religion are you?
We're really not. If anything, she would be more Wiccan than anything else.
Wiccan?
Yeah, like fairies and energies and stuff like that. That's kind of what her grandma was.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something, but I don't know what it is.
More what?
I think there's something, but I don't know what it is.
You think there's a God, but not, you're not, you wouldn't believe in Jesus Christ, to be a Christian per se, or.
I took a comparative religions class years ago and studying different religions, and it's like you can believe parts of all of them. And so I just kind of fell into the, I was baptized at boot camp, but that class kind of opened my eyes, like, okay, there's different beliefs, and some of them really tie together. And so I always kind of look at myself as more open-minded and
not a specific
positive energy out. Read positive energy
in.
Yeah, it's kind of.
You believe there's a creator, kind of.
Having a science degree, I believe there's something, but I don't know that I'll ever know what it is.
Yeah.
Because nothing comes from nothing. So.
I've never thought about it on the science side of it, because the science side of it is Big Bang Theory or something like to that extent, and so but I'm not. Biology was my worst class in school, so I'm not a big physics or biology person. Just it was my least favorite topic. What all religions was it that you studied in that class that you kind of took bits and pieces from?
Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, or I always struggle with how you classify that.
No, you man. Did you ever read the Quran?
I never
Quran. Am I saying it right? Is it Quran or Quran?
I think it's Quran, but I never read it. I just kind of studied what it was about and kind of some of the things that it taught.
I've got a lot of buddies that were in the Marine Corps, and for some reason it was a popular thing among them to read the Quran. But I think it was because they were deployed overseas, and it was a book that every house they went into it was easily readily available. So it was just something to kill time or whatever. So I've got a lot of buddies that that's not their religion, but while they were overseas they read the Quran just because it was there, I guess. Well, Mike, can you just walk me through what you do remember from today, and that way we can kind of try to piece together why we're here today?
We were working. We were talking to one of my coworkers. Probably 4. I think I took a shower. And I came back down. The wife and I were talking about wanting to buy a new mattress. The one we have is too soft. It dips really bad in the middle. And I don't remember.
Is it normal for you not to remember your day?
No.
You feel like
It happened the other night. When her best friend came over, I was still awake. It was, I don't know what time it was. And they had passed out in the bed, and I didn't want to intrude or anything, so I set up the couch. Before I lay down on the couch, passed out, and my wife actually came out to just check on me, and she found me on the floor.
what happened?
I don't know, I passed out. I don't know. I was tired. I remember standing there thinking, okay, get on the couch, and then I woke up on my back in the middle of the floor.
You said a minute ago you had them scratches on your back. You said you had how many dogs?
3.
3 dogs. What kind of dogs are they?
2 pugs and a bulldog.
2 pugs and a bulldog. They all stay inside. Any pain? There's a lot of dogs in one house.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble focusing.
Why do you think you're having trouble focusing, or why do you think you can't remember stuff from today?
It's not, you asked me, I have trouble remembering stuff, and it's not that I do all the time. I do sometimes. It's got a really bad concussion in high school, and so my short-term to long-term memory isn't always there. That's one of the areas that pissed my wife off, was that we'd talk and I wouldn't necessarily remember it an hour later, and I'd want to reiterate go over the conversation.
I just want you to kind of think real hard and try to go chronological throughout your day today, from the time you woke up and what happened, what you did, what you ate, what you did for breakfast, and what you did for lunch, and what you did for work, and just kind of see if maybe you can piece together, what happened today and why we can't remember it. You remember what you ate for breakfast?
I didn't.
No breakfast at all?
Toast at about 11.
Did you eat anything for lunch, or was that your lunch, the toast? Did you eat anything for dinner tonight?
I don't think so. I don't know.
You don't remember at all?
I'm trying.
Hmm.
I'm trying. I'm trying to remember what I worked on today. Just talk to somebody I can't remember, and I don't know what to do.
Do you remember the police coming to your house this evening?
I remember being on the sidewalk on my face.
Okay.
Here, Michael avoids the question. He instead volunteers unrelated information. We have talked about this strategy before in our other interrogation analysis videos. In short, this is a naive strategy that attempts to show one being truthful without having to answer a question truthfully. It's as if to say, let me tell you about this one verifiably true thing that happened instead of answering your question. You see, I'm being truthful with you. Now, as for your question, I cannot remember. And you should believe me because I just told you something else that's true, thereby solidifying my status as an honest person. In my experience, this strategy tends to be much more common with socially introverted suspects and highly uncommon in the most talkative and psychopathic suspects, as the latter group is much more confident in lying directly.
Mark, look at me. Yeah, look at me, brother. I'm going to be honest with you. Can you be honest with me? You called 911 tonight? 911? And you told the dispatcher that you wanted to kill yourself. Do you know why you would tell them that you wanted to kill yourself?
In the last 10 years, there's been 3 times that I wanted to kill myself. If I'd said that tonight, if you want me to be honest with you.
In the last 10 years, you wanted to kill yourself 3 different times?
There's 3 moments.
3 moments?
And I never did it.
What are those 3 moments?
One of them I got before I went back to school. I got screwed over. Boss. Everything had been going really good. And I didn't see it coming. I didn't protect myself. And I failed my wife. I failed the kids. And we were in a really bad place as far as financials go. And I wasn't doing well coping with it. It was a hit to me. And there had been rumors that my wife had slept with a coworker. She told me it wasn't true, but it was just another piece.
Something else to add some stress. Why were you wanting to hurt yourself today? I want to help you, Mike, but you've got to remember.
Been trying to jar my memory, walk through my day. That's what I was doing the whole time I was in the back of that car. What's happening? I don't know why I'm here.
Do you remember any from today, like other than like what you ate? You know, did your wife work from home today too, or she going
She
to?
always does.
Huh?
She works remote.
Did she?
Yeah, it's permanent remote for her
Did she do that today?
every day.
What are her off days?
Saturday and Sunday.
So she worked today then. Yes,
Yes.
Today's Friday. Do y'all work in the same room or separate rooms?
This week we worked in the same room, just trying to save electricity and heat and everything with what's been going on with the weather
and stuff.
And so we were trying to condense where we were so we didn't have to heat as much and use as much electricity. So I sat in the chair and she was on the bed. And we were being pretty playful and bantering. I remember that. We were sending her some playful texts.
Sending her texts like while you're in the same room together, or
As we've always done that.
yeah, just kind of keeping things fun.
Well, she's, in a meeting, I can't necessarily say things and stuff.
So does she see patients? Like, is she like FaceTiming patients, or?
They contract a pharmaceutical company.
Okay. Well, I think we're getting a little bit further because you remember sending text messages to your wife today. So
That's earlier.
about what time you think that was?
Early afternoon. This morning.
You remember what she was wearing today?
Sure, yesterday. I'm in over my head. Can I talk to a lawyer, please?
One more time, sir.
Can I talk to a lawyer, please? I'm in so far over my head. I don't know what's happening.
Okay. That's perfectly your right to do so. So we can get you an attorney and then speak with you after you have an attorney.
Getting confused.
Okay.
By your questions. I'm sorry.
You're perfectly fine. You are going to be under arrest, okay? And you're going to be taken over to the Collin County Jail.
I'm under arrest.
You're going to be under arrest for capital murder. Capital murder.
No.
Let's watch that again.
I'm under arrest.
You're going to be under arrest for capital murder. Capital murder.
No.
If anything, Michael deserves to have this performance rewatched at least once. Clearly, he put a lot of time into his acting skills to have pulled this off. Notice that he fails to react the first time the detective states that Michael would be going to jail for capital murder. He says, "Excuse me?" to prompt the detective to give him a second chance, as he initially missed his cue. There you go, Michael. Nailed it. We'll get to watch Michael give another 10 out of 10 performance coming up shortly.
You caught me a minute ago whenever I used past tense instead of present tense.
No. Well, now. Wouldn't.
Here's what I need you to do, Michael, okay? I need you to stand up and turn around and face that wall for me, okay?
Stand up for me.
Turn around, put your hands on the floor here. No, don't put your hands on the wall, just face the wall, okay?
No. No, I didn't. Did not hurt anyone.
No, Michael. I'm gonna lock them so they don't tighten up on your wrist.
Have a seat. Right quick.
You can breathe, okay? Take the breath, Michael. I'm gonna get somebody so we can walk you over to the jail, okay?
Hey, whoever might be outside still. You hear me? Whoever might be outside still. Yeah.
Because it's COVID, we have to pretty much follow drop. Mike, we're gonna have a car pulled around so we gotta drive you over there because there's ice and stuff still outside. So I don't want you walking across the ice.
No, please.
Mike, don't fall down on me. If you're gonna do it like that, sit down in the chair.
Here come those acting skills I was talking about.
It's not true. Please tell me it's not true. Please.
Are you talking to me or yourself?
Please tell me it's not true.
Your daughter is deceased.
No! I would never.
Your daughter is deceased.
No! I would never.
The acting was flawless, in my opinion. The only problem is that Michael seemingly forgot that he was setting up his wife as the culprit by saying, "I would never." Looks like he was too focused on the physical side of acting and let his lips fly loose. After this, Michael is arrested and transported to jail. But you might have noticed that the detective had only mentioned Michael's daughter being deceased.
Your daughter is deceased.
On the way to the police vehicle transporting Michael to jail, Michael asks, "What about the other two, my wife and son?" Detective Armstrong intentionally ignores the question to see if Michael will ask again. A person truly unaware of the status of his family members would be begging for an update as to their well-being. Michael does not ask again. The detective concludes that Michael is only pretending to be unaware of the murder of his family. To you and I, this seems like common sense, but the legal system needs evidence. And while the detective was unable to extract a direct confession from Michael, he did get tangible results to show that Michael was playing ignorant. In the detective's own words, during my interview with Michael, he was able to tell me that he remembered working, taking a shower, talking with his wife about mattress shopping, not eating breakfast, having toast at 11, working from the same room due to the snowstorm, and sending playful messages to his wife while in the same room together. That is, what might seem to have been a mundane conversation to you or me was actually an accumulation of evidence that Michael was lucid enough about the finer details of his day that it would be nearly impossible to believe him not being lucid about the murders that occurred shortly after. This detective's smart work helped in the quick sentencing of Mike Paton to life in prison without the possibility of parole.